Hello, this is Thomas, K4SWL. If you're new here, I do real-time, real-life amateur radio field activation videos. Today's going to be a little different. This is going to be a short video, especially short for me. It's Field Day. It's June 24th, 2023, and I'm not doing a really big Field Day event this year. My buddy Vlado and 3CZ and I decided to go out, do a few hours of basically a POTA activation, though we're not spotting ourselves or doing anything. Nobody knows we're doing POTA, but it is a POTA activation. POTA will accept any contacts you make, and so we're making Field Day contacts today as a 1B battery station. So basically QRP running off of a battery. And we're at Holmes Educational State Forest. Our plan today, I ran by Vlado's house a little after noon. We threw a few things in the car, drove about 45 minutes here, and we're going to play radio for 2-3 hours, and then head over to the Blue Ridge Amateur Radio Club in Hendersonville, North Carolina, and join them for dinner right around 5:30. I think they're having barbecue or something. And I belong to the Blue Ridge Amateur Radio Club, but I haven't been to a meeting in so long. Their meetings just don't work well in my schedule. And it's almost an hour's drive from my house, so it's hard for me to fit that in a schedule, but they're a wonderful club. And yeah, but it's a beautiful day. It has been rainy off and on today, at times really heavy rain. I was holding out hope when we came to Holmes that the shelter would be available, but it was not. There must have been 3 different parties going on in there at the same time. So the last thing we wanted to do was walk over there and start playing radio in the middle of all that. But we wanted to kind of be in a public place. So as we brought all of our stuff up to the picnic table, it got really dark and the humidity went up. It was already 99%. It went up to 110%. And so I said, Vlado, we need to put up a rainfly. So I brought along my little rainfly that goes to my Eno hammock, which is plenty big. And so our site really was picked based on knowing that I could put the rainfly over us. And no sooner had we put up that rainfly than the heavens opened. And so it was perfect timing. We've stayed perfectly dry. Our gear stayed perfectly dry. And Vlado's operating right now. You can see it off here at the distance, the little Eno rainfly. And Vlado's operating right now, and we'll just go in there for a little bit, hang out for a little bit. I'm not going to do a really long video, frankly. I've only got probably 10% battery on this little camera right now. Didn't plan to do any filming today at all, and I asked Vlado, I said, do you mind if I pull out the camera just so people can see what we're doing? Now, likelihood is that when we get to the Blue Ridge Amateur Radio Club, we may operate from their station a little bit if they need somebody to pull in and do a little CW or single sideband or digital or whatever. If they have a station open, I don't know how many stations they'll have operating simultaneously today, but we may do a little bit of that. But I didn't have a really big Field Day event planned this year because of my schedule. This morning I was painting the house on the inside, one of my honey-do list items, and my week, I'd planned to do that during the week, and that kind of got thrown off based on some other things that happened. So I did it this morning, and my wife and daughters very kindly let me run off with Vlado to do a little Field Day stuff. He was also busy today, so this is making it work in our schedule. But yeah, it's really good. Oh, let me show you the antenna first. You know what? I think if I go around here, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Our antenna is a 40-meter end-fed half-wave made by my buddy MW0SAW. Now, where is the end of it? Here it is over here. And I have used this antenna so many times. It's right here. It's being fed with my chameleon cable. It's 50 feet long. So we were able to kind of move it out, stretch the cable all the way out here, going over to the rainfly. Vlado is using his ICOM IC703 Plus. Of course, this antenna is resonant on all the bands we're operating today, 40, 20, 15, and 10. So, because we're not operating the WARC bands, it's actually a perfect Field Day antenna. We just moved down to 40 meters a little bit ago. So we'll go in here and see what Vlado's doing. Okay, Vlado, I'm coming in with some company here. This is Vlado in 3CZ.
Hello.
This is K4SWL. Here we go. I've been logging for him here.
We worked a couple more now.
Nice. Still in 40 meters?
40
Yep.
meters, yeah, 40 is going well
40 is probably a little bit better even for, there we go, we changed that a little nicely. Yeah, we've only got like, what, 26 stations or so. We haven't been... We're using my call sign. Okay, he's moving off of him. So we're just doing the hunt and pounce.
WR4 Tango.
I was catching that as a V. It was 1A, I think I heard Ohio. Right. Nice.
Yeah.
Ohio's coming in really well on 40 meters. We've also worked some stations on 20 and 15. Is WQ something? We can get him.
Yeah, it's a new multiplier. Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yay.
Big fan.
Oh, that's nice of her.
Gary, I forgot. Who's the operator? Give a call sign.
That's a big station. 5 operators. See, something you gotta know about Vlado is he is a contester and a DXer. And he's actually slowed way down for this because when you're operating QRP and it's field day and, you know, you're not everybody at the other end of the set is a you know, a contester, sometimes it's nicer to go a little slower. Okay. Okay, so 1D, Ohio. I wasn't paying any attention to that. Okay, says KN8CWO, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Vlado doesn't wait to even, if he just hears somebody finishing and they say thank you, he'll put in the call sign even if he hasn't heard the call, because he knows he can get it later after they move on to the next person. But he has been adjusting the key speed based on the operator on the other end. When we were in the higher bands, like 15. Oh, no. Tennessee. We didn't have Tennessee, I don't think.
Just across the mountain.
Got him. Nice. That's a nice call, N4ZZ.
Nice call. Almost like N3CZ.
Very close. Very close to N3CZ. It's nice not to be the guy operating.
You didn't copy our code, correct?
Yeah. Vlado can actually copy calls while he's talking to you. That is a skill I do not have. I don't know that I ever will have that. But again, he's kind of a contester DXer. Vlado's been on DXpeditions. How many DXpeditions have you been on, Vlado?
I've worked from a number of places. Two big expeditions.
Two big ones?
In Pacific, yeah. Baker Island and Conway Reef, South Pacific.
Yeah. I have known Vlado, many, many years. Almost 2 decades, I guess. I don't know. See, I'm not good at listening to stuff and talking at the same time. But yeah, Vlado's been on a couple of big D expeditions. He's also like an incredible repair technician. He loves repairing stuff. And you can find his stuff at hamradio.repair. If he is even open for business right now, he has to kind of shut things down from time to time because he gets so many things in at once and catches up on them, and then he'll open it back up. Yeah, 40 meters is doing really well, actually.
Okay, let's see, this is pretty strong. Almost sounds like a local.
I don't think we got in Kentucky yet. Yay.
That's a new one.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Kentucky.
Okay, I'm going to walk away for just a little bit so you can take this over. Better cut this off before the battery goes out. But we've just had a good time with this. We didn't take Field Day very seriously this year. It's just fun, friendship, fellowship, radio ship. That's what really this is all about. No big experiments with antennas or anything this year. I think next year I'm probably going to make a much more of an effort. Vlado and I may be able to make a much longer attempt at Field Day, maybe even doing a camp out or something like that. Maybe getting some other people together, or perhaps we'll just meet up with the Blue Ridge Club and get slotted in their schedule for doing operating. But for me, I've never been one to take Field Day very seriously as a contest. People do Field Day different ways. I've been with groups that Field Day is 100% a contest, and it is all about maximizing points, doing everything possible to place really high up in those rankings when they come out. That's not the way I normally operate. Now, don't get me wrong, it's fun to do that. It is really fun to kind of be competitive sometimes, especially in a group when you've got a club or something. I know some of the big gun stations really get into it, and they do a lot of have multiple operators. They run full power, and they put on a really big performance, and that's kind of fun. Like they really get into it and prepare for it like the Olympics or something. Me, I've always kind of taken Field Day as more about getting people into radio, getting on the air, experimenting with antennas, experimenting with radios. Of course, we didn't venture out very much with this today, but one thing that was kind of fun doing is the weather looked like it would hold off. And I was expecting that we would just set up here in this shelter. And when we drove up, we saw a lot of cars here, and I was very thankful that I threw my rain fly in, because it did saved our bacon when we first got here. Setting things up, Vlado has gotten to know his IC703. He hasn't taken it out to play in a very long time, so he's enjoying just kind of getting to know that radio again, and that's sort of what Field Day's about too, and making contacts. And later on we'll be doing more of the social thing with the club, and frankly we're looking forward to that. I haven't seen some of the members in that club in a really long time, and so it's kind of fun to do that. And we're, of course, going to submit the logs here as a Parks on the Air activation. There's no reason not to do that. I may play a little bit more tomorrow. I'm not sure. I've got a lot going on right now, actually. Tomorrow we've got some traveling to do, so I take that back. I probably won't get a chance to do it. But Field Day is something that I think that, it used to be our annual sort of excuse to go out and play radio. And with time, with all these really cool activities like National Parks on the Air, Summits on the Air, there are so many other good reasons to go out on a daily basis and play radio. I do believe that these activities kind of make like everyday Field Day. So for me going out, I remember when I first did, actually it wasn't Field Day, but it was just an on-the-air contest, a QRP contest, probably, I think it was maybe Flight of the Bumblebees. And I remember getting together with my friends Mike and Eric, WD8RF and K8RAT, and it was kind of funny because as we were setting up, we knew all the components to put up and everything. We had the antennas, we had everything. We got out, and we must have spent a half an hour just trying to untangle the antenna, to get it up, to do all that stuff to try to get in a tree. That's been like 2 decades ago, over that. It's probably been about 23, 24 years ago when I did this. And I remember that it took us quite a while just to get our station up and be on and start operating. I have done Parks on the Air so much, and I'm sure that you'll feel the same way if you've done this, that, sorry, my camera's giving me a warning, that once you do a lot of POTA activations or SOTA activations, putting an antenna up in the tree is like just the easiest thing in the world. It took me all of maybe 5 minutes to put this up. In fact, what took longer was just trying to set up this fly because although we had trees around, they weren't ideally spaced, but we didn't have a lot of time to pick a site. We wanted one that was a little more public, that would be along the main path, so maybe people would come by and ask us what we're doing, and one of us could talk while the other one was operating, that sort of thing. But frankly, it's been wet enough that everybody's just been up there in that shelter we haven't had any hikers come by or anything yet. But it's good fun. anyway, thank you for joining me just for some casual stuff here. And I hope you had an awesome field day. If you have never done a field day before with a group, I would highly encourage you to do that. It's just a lot of fun. It's a great way to get to know people. It's a great way to play with radios you don't normally play with antennas that you have never deployed before. And frankly, if this would have been a lot longer session, I would have probably put up something more adventurous like a 40-meter delta loop or something like that, when we came out. But we just didn't have enough time. So a 40-meter end-fed half wave does everything that we need it to do. All of the bands that we would hop on anyway. So that worked out really well for us, and we're having a good time. That's what it's all about. Again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and take care. All we got on this whole planet's each other, so let's take care of one another, okay? Until next time, 7 3s.